White bread and refined grains, which include products such as white rice, pasta made from refined flour, pastries, crackers, and many breakfast cereals, are particularly hazardous for individuals living with diabetes due to their high glycemic index and minimal nutritional value. These foods are heavily processed, stripped of fiber, vitamins, and minerals, leaving primarily rapidly digestible carbohydrates. When consumed, they are broken down almost immediately into glucose, causing sharp and often extreme elevations in blood sugar levels. For people with diabetes, whose ability to regulate glucose is impaired, these postprandial spikes place intense stress on the pancreas, requiring large surges of insulin to manage the sudden influx of sugar. Over time, repeated stress can accelerate beta cell dysfunction, worsen insulin resistance, and make long-term glycemic control increasingly difficult. The dangers of white bread and refined grains extend beyond simple glucose spikes. The lack of fiber in these foods prevents the slowing of glucose absorption, eliminating one of the body's natural mechanisms to moderate post-meal blood sugar increases. Furthermore, diets high in refined carbohydrates are strongly associated with weight gain, particularly the accumulation of visceral fat, which is metabolically active and contributes to inflammation, oxidative stress, and worsening insulin resistance. Epidemiological studies have consistently linked high intake of refined grains with a greater risk of type 2 diabetes development, poor glycemic control, and increased cardiovascular risk. Consumption of white bread and refined grains can also exacerbate lipid abnormalities commonly observed in diabetes. High glycemic foods are known to elevate triglyceride levels, reduce protective HDL cholesterol, and contribute to small, dense LDL particles, all of which accelerate the process of atherosclerosis. This not only increases the risk of coronary artery disease, but also amplifies the likelihood of strokes and peripheral vascular complications, which are already heightened in diabetic populations. The cumulative effect of these metabolic disturbances is a significant increase in morbidity and mortality associated with diabetes. Behavioral and dietary patterns also play a role. White bread and refined grains are often staple foods in many diets, and their highly palatable texture and taste can encourage overeating. Frequent consumption fosters a pattern of repeated glycemic spikes throughout the day, making it nearly impossible to maintain stable blood glucose levels. This constant fluctuation contributes to long-term damage to blood vessels, nerves, and organs, heightening the risk of nephropathy, neuropathy, and retinopathy. From a research perspective, multiple longitudinal studies and meta-analyses demonstrate that substituting whole grains for refined grains significantly reduces the risk of diabetes-related complications, improves glycemic control, and mitigates cardiovascular risk. This underscores that the danger lies not only in the acute effects on blood sugar, but also in the long-term cumulative metabolic and vascular consequences. For individuals with diabetes, white bread and refined grains should be considered more than just occasional indulgences. They are highly disruptive to metabolic stability. Avoiding them is crucial for preserving pancreatic function, reducing insulin resistance, preventing weight gain, and protecting against the progressive complications that make diabetes a chronic, life-threatening condition.